Hey guys, so this video let's talk about should you pull Ezio and at what portrait? Well, this video I will not talk about his gameplay per se. What I explained before in Ezio's kit explanation video still applies. All the recommendation is pretty much the same. And his gameplay is very easy, just use S1, S2 every round, and his ultimate is auto anyway. So here I'm going to address more on if you should pull more than one copy. So let us look into his portrait. At P1, when triggering an assassination. So assassination, basically most of his attack is assassination, but here it mentioned when in the master assassin status. So how does he get that? When he attacks an enemy and trigger assassination, he get 1 apprentice assassin. If he has 8 apprentice assassin, then he get the status master assassin. So this actually makes him a little bit slow in terms of ramping up. So initially, like for the first round or second round, he won't be doing that much damage, but once he get the master assassin status, he will be doing a lot of damage. Here, if you have Cassandra, then you will get this status faster because Cassandra also trigger assassination and can help the party to trigger more assassination. But anyway, once you are in master assassination status, for every 100 point of critical technique, the attacker has more than the target. So here you want to pump up as much crit and crit damage for Ezio in order to push up this number, this critical technique. Then he will get a final damage dealt plus 10%, which is an increase from 6%. Right, 6 increase to 10%, and when you are casting his ultimate, Arrow of Faith and Age of Faith can be cast up to 4 times, from 3 times. 3 times to 4 times. And Arrow of Faith, Age of Faith is basically the same thing. You use it when the enemy HP is either below or more than 50%, and each of it deals 100% relative damage, so 3 times 300%. And then if you add 1 more due to P1, that's 400%. And after you cast the Arrow of Faith or Age of Faith, you will do another attack. And that attack is Death Be Not Unkind. And that deals 700%. So basically his ultimate can deal 1000% at P0 and increase to 1100% at P1. But having the advantage of triggering 1 more time does trigger additional things like the Genesis damage and all the other effects, because it is counted as 1 additional attack instead of combining all the attacks into 1. So there is a slight advantage there, but overall P1 is just damage increase. It doesn't affect his rotation. For P2, it enhances 3 things: Venetian Falchion, Condottiero Warhammer, and Captain's Sword. Alright, so for the first one, it now inflicts 2 stacks of Assassin Mark instead of 1 stack. And what is Assassin Mark is basically when an ally casts an incantation, Ezio will do a follow-up attack. So this actually increases his follow-up attack by 1. He do 2 types of follow-up attack. When your ally attack once, he does a follow-up attack. When the enemy attack your party, he does a repulse, which is also a follow-up attack. So P2 will allow him to do a follow-up attack when your party attacks 1 additional time, or else he will just do 1. With this, he will do it twice. And that's actually quite a big boost to his damage output. For the second one, the Warhammer, it basically increases the Eagle guidance stacks. So normally it will be 1 stack, but with this now you get 2 stacks. Every 2 Eagle guidance will trigger an additional attack. I mean, it will allow you to click on the Arrow of Faith or Age of Faith 1 more time. So normally you need the party to use like 6 ultimates, but now the party just have to use 3 ultimate, and you can have up to 6 stacks, which is 3 additional attack of Arrow of Faith and Age of Faith. And when you are in the Warhammer, like you're using the Warhammer weapon, you can out every 2 rounds. So again, an increase in its damage, and this increase is more than the P1 version. For Captain Sword, which is the poison one, when attacking with a basic incantation or ultimate, deal additional reality damage. So depending if you are using his work in the dark, which is his skill 1, or the final attack when you are using his ultimate, you deal more Genesis damage. Okay, and yeah, so again, it's basically a damage boost. For P3, it further increased the final damage dealt when you are triggering assassination. So from 10% now is 11%, just 1% more, but overall it increases his S1 and also the damage of his ultimate. And directly increasing his S1, which means all of his repos will also do more damage. At P4, again it increases the final damage dealt when triggering assassin by another 1% and is now at 12%. And his S2, Serve the Light, when being attacked in a counter kill status, the repulse damage increased to 600%. Initially, it's just 500%, so now it increased to 600%. His repulse is actually pretty insane because 500, 600% is almost as good as the ultimate of the older character that we have. Lately, most of the ultimate does like 800, 900%, but still 5 and 600% just from a repulse is a lot of damage. Especially when you are fighting against several or a lot of enemy and they do like 3 or 4 attacks and you'll be countering. Yeah, a lot of damage. On top of that, it also increases the final attack when you're using his ultimate from 700% to 900%. And at P5, it further enhances his weapons. For the Falcon, what it does is own extra action, gain damage bonus 100%. Crazy. 100% damage bonus. And all his access crit rate will convert crit damage at 150%. So you get even more than that. Like if you have access 10%, now you have 15% crit damage. Right? But this is based on the secondary weapon. Okay? So the secondary weapon Butcher's Knife, it also increases extra action damage by 100%, and the upper limit of work in the dark, his S1 triggered by enemy's death, is increased to 4. Because in this secondary weapon, like the Butcher Knife, if you use it, if an enemy die, it will do another follow-up attack, but on the enemy with the lowest HP. So now this one, it can basically chain up to 4 times. And for the last secondary weapon, Sultan's Knife, this is actually pretty good because when you use his S2, Serve the Light, you only gain 1 stack of fighting experience and ICOT. Fighting experience is really important and you want to make sure you have it all the time. Using that at rank 1, you will just gain once. It will just last for 1 round. If you use it rank 2, it will last for 2 rounds, rank 3 will last for 3 rounds, but now at P5, you just have to use rank 1, then it lasts for 2 rounds, which means Ezio become more AP friendly. Like you don't have to cast S1, S2, now you can just do S1, S2, next round, S1, the other round, S1, S2. So it makes him much more AP friendly. And in fact, S1 is sometimes not necessary to be casted at all because it doesn't really maintain any of his specific buffs. So you can just use S2 every single round, but now with P5, you use S2 every other round, making him really, really AP friendly, allowing him to be slotted in a lot of teams. Ice Court is his taunt. Yeah, so basically when you are in this status and you have Ice Court, the enemy are more likely to attack Ezio, and the damage he receives will also be lower. Now, for the Warhammer, it increases his ultimate might by 40%, and at the start of the round, he gains synchronization 20%. And if you are using the secondary weapon Butcher Knife, after casting an ultimate, he instantly get back synchronization 20%. And if it's the Sultan's Knife, then after an ally action, if the enemy dies, you gain synchronization 20%. So enemy dies is kind of hard to rely on, so probably I won't really recommend to use that third weapon for the ultimate mode. But anyway, with this extra 20%, it is very likely that Ezio will be able to cast his ultimate every round. And with ultimate might 40%, he's gonna be pretty crazy. And for the third one, Captain's Sword, again, is for poison. Genesis damage plus 20% and inflict additional poison. And for the secondary weapon, Butcher's Knife, inflict 3 additional instant of poison. And if it's Sultan's Knife, after an enemy dies, then you can inherit up to 20 poison stacks. So your poison stack doesn't go to waste. But anyway, again, similarly, this will overall increase the Genesis damage that he does. And from the video that I posted earlier, he does a lot of Genesis damage. Right? So again, P5 will make him a very, very strong DPS. So here comes the big question. Should you pull for him, right? Before you talk about the Portray, should you pull for him? I would say if you're a free-to-play player and you like a lot of things in your roster, like you always can't clear Reverie because you're lacking of this or you're lacking of that, please get Ezio. Right? Ezio is so versatile. He fits in so many different team comp. You can put him in like Flutter Page, you can put him in with Tuesday, there's Poison, then Melania for ultimate. He goes everywhere. And depending on the enemy you're fighting with, if an enemy has a lot of defense, then you go for fully Genesis damage. And if the enemy does a lot of attack, then the follow-up attack build will be very good. And depending, ultimate now is also very strong, and you also can just put him into ultimate and go into different type of fights. So overall, he's a very strong unit. His damage is really good. He's so versatile. Yeah, so very little reason that you should skip him. And not only just follow-up attack, ultimate, and poison, he does gain a huge benefit as well from rank up and even HP reduction, because he go into a different status when his HP is below 30%, if not mistaken. Yeah, so he works in a lot of teams. However, if you already have a pretty good roster and you want to save up for future patch, I totally understand that. So in that case, it is okay to skip Ezio, because as a true limited unit that probably he will never return in any banner, but I do think that he might get an Euphoria like really late down in the game, but it will not be in the banner, right? So because of that, I don't think there will be a specific content that is designed specifically for Ezio, which means if you don't have him, then you are dead. I don't think that will happen. So you don't have to worry about it. If you really want to wait for future patches and get those units, I think it should be fine as well. And for his Portray, again, fortunately, none of his Portray impacts his rotation. So mainly, if you want to get it, is for damage boost. And damage boost means in terms of meta, he will last even longer. So the more Portray you get, he will be less likely to be power creep. Okay? Anyway, if I were to recommend, P0, P2, and P5 is a good stopping point, because I do see that P2 and P5, there's a larger spike in terms of the overall damage that he can do. So I would suggest, P0 or P2, or go all out to P5. And what about me? Am I gonna pull? Well, no brainer. I'm definitely pulling, but to what extent? P0, P2, P5? I don't think I'm gonna go P5, not because I don't want to. Actually, I'm very tempted to, but because I'm doing content, and if I go all the way to P5, then the content will become very irrelevant to a lot of you. P2 at least is not that far from P0. So if some of you have P0 and I'm using P2, at least it's not that far. So in that case, at least it is still justifiable that when you watch my showcase, you know that you could, somewhat replicate it. If I go all the way to P5, then no. He will be stomping everything and bypassing all the boss mechanics. So I don't want to bypass the boss mechanic easily. I want to be able to showcase these boss mechanics. And on top of that, I actually enjoy messing around with this boss mechanic, finding strategy to finding a solution to defeat them. So if P5 is going to just delete and stomp the boss and bypassing all the mechanics, then it kind of defeat the purpose of me playing this game. But there's a big but here. I'm going to throw at least 100 pull. Even if I get Ezio P2 before 100 pull, I will still push for 100 pull. And depending on how close am I to the next PT, I might throw a little bit more, which then can extend all the way to 160 pulls, but I probably will not go more than 160 pulls. So, I'm not sure, like during that thing, anything can happen. Suddenly I get 2 copy of Ezio or 3 copy of Ezio, and suddenly you see that I have P5 Ezio, right? So that might happen. So if that happened, fortunately or unfortunately, I will upgrade his Portray. Yeah, so basically that's all for this video. The game will probably start, for the global version, maybe in another 30 minutes or 1 hour. So good luck with your pulls. And yeah, I hope this video helped you to decide if you should or shouldn't pull, and up to what portrait that you should pull for. Okay, thank you very much and have a good day.